Guys, it's Dribble Carlos. In today's video, I'm going to give you my review of episode 1 of Smallville, season 1. I'm not in the other K anymore. So here we go, guys. First of all, this is going to be my new series. Don't worry, guys. I'll be continuing. I'll still do the Big Bang Theory and the Goldbergs and my other series that I've been reviewing on, or that I'm planning on reviewing. But this is going to be my new series. So if you don't know what Smallville is, it's basically the story, basically a series following Clark Kent, aka Superman's teenage high school years, through the time that he dons the suit for the first time. So here we go. In this first episode, we obviously meet Clark when he comes crashing down to the other K, which is not Krypton. Krypton has a K, but in Smallville, the meteor shower that brings Kal-El to us, or to us in Kansas, in Smallville, Kansas, Missouri, Smallville, Kansas, Kal-El falls or crashes down in 1989. Now, guys, there's a twist to this. Obviously, Jonathan Kent, and Martha Kent are the main keepers of Clark. They adopt Clark as their own Clark Kent. Therefore, he's called Clark Kent. His Kryptonian name, Superman's Kryptonian name, is Kal-El. But anyway, before there was Lois Lane. Yes, before there was Lois Lane, which we know and love, there was Lana Lang. In Smallville, before we get to Lana, before Clark even gets to meet Lois Lane, we have Lana Lang. Now Lana has 4 years since the first time he saw her. Clark has been in love with Lana, but one problem. Lana's first problem for Clark. It's not a problem for him, but technically it's a problem for him because Lana's parents died because of the meteor shower that brought him to us. That brought him to Smallville. Second, after Lana's the Langs died. Lana's parents, her aunt Mel adopted her, which is good, but made Lana a necklace out of a fragment out of one of the meteorites that tragically, actually from the meteorite that it blew up Lana's mom and dad's car. And then, and to top it all off, this is where we meet might ask, who is? I know that we are used to just when we connect Superman to his main rival or main villain is Lex, but not his dad, not Lex's dad. Lionel Luthor, to my knowledge, before Smallville, sorry, we were used to just saying Clark and Lex, Clark Kent and Lex Luthor. But with Smallville, we have Lex, which we know, and Lionel, who is Lex's dad, who runs the Luthor Corp Empire, which is the company or corporation that Luthor name has been running for years. So, and of course we meet Clark's friends, to be more specific, two of them. Chloe, who works in the school newspaper called The Torch, which the mascot of Smallville High is the crows. So Chloe works, the torch is her life, and she has something called the Wall Weird. It's basically a shrine, it's a big sticky note, a ginormous sticky note with everything that has to happen ever since Clark came into the picture, meaning since he crashed down with all the meteorites that hit Smallville, which obviously came from Krypton. Now, you may ask, I know that Krypton is important, but why is Kryptonite so important in this case? Besides making Clark sick. Well, Kryptonite makes Clark sick. Yes, because he's Superman. Because he's Superman. But Kryptonite also makes people in Smallville have very unique abilities that are used for evil purposes. Evil goals. And in this first episode, we have the first case of a former student that was tied up in a Smallville prank tradition called the Scarecrow. His name was Jeremy. Jeremy something. You can check me on his last name, but Jeremy was the new kid, and I'm guessing basically the some members of the 1989 Smallville team basically tied him up like a scarecrow on a stake. Yes, on a wooden stake, not the meat, but you know what I mean. On a wooden stake like a scarecrow, and pantsed him, and drew a red painted S for Smallville. Now, you may ask, how did this affect Clark? Well, here's the kicker. Lana has a her boyfriend is the quarterback of the football team, Whitney. And Whitney sees Clark hanging out, or hanging out with Lana in the cemetery as she introduces Clark to her mom and dad at the cemetery, and Clark says starts talking to the Lang, and Lana's feeling like very sad and very alone, and says, and then Clark chimes in and says, "Okay, Miss Lane, I'll tell her." And of course Clark tells Lana that her mom said, "You are never alone. You are never going to be alone. You are never going to be alone, because we are with you. We are with you in your heart." And Clark did the same thing for Mr. Lang, and Mr. Lang said, keep on your streak of winning the homecoming queen." And Clark said, I'll tell Lana that. And that's exactly what Clark did. But Whitney saw this, and of course, like in a typical high school boyfriend fashion, he got jealous. He got jealous. He basically punched Clark in the face, and basically kind of not borrowed, but Lana had given Whitney her necklace, her Kryptonian, her meteorite Kryptonite necklace from the meteorite that she has cherished forever, because that necklace reminds her of her mom and dad, and in the way that they are with their daughter, but in a nice gesture for good luck, Lana says to Whitney, "I'll let you borrow it for good luck in your next game." So this is where I'm getting at. So after seeing Clark, hanging out and having a chat, having a chat with Lana and her mom and dad in the cemetery, Whitney in a typical boyfriend fashion got jealous and punched poor Clark, and basically, put Lana's necklace around Clark's neck. Clark's neck, and Wendy's other teammates basically put poor Clark in the back of a truck, and they pantsed them, and they did the crow prank like they did with Jeremy. Now, You may ask, well, Carlos, if this telling of Superman is going to be different, how does how does how does Lex come into contact with Clark? Well, you know, Clark is looking down on him, looking down 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 on the bridge, looking down on the bridge when we see Lex driving his driving his Porsche, driving his Porsche, and his phone rings, but he drops, but he drops, but he drops his phone, and he tries to reach it, and he basically impales Clark, and Lex in his car, and Clark fall into the water of this bridge. But here's the kicker: obviously nothing happened. Nothing, like, Clark is not hurt. Clark is not hurt. So he saves Lex, who would later become his enemy, his number one nemesis, as we know. And that's how Clark and Lex meet for the first time, and they become close friends. And down the line, they become quick friends. But one big problem for Lex, and that's Mr. Kent, Jonathan Kent. He doesn't trust the Luthors. Because he knows how the Luthors are, especially Lionel, Lex's dad. Corrupt and filled with malice. So meanwhile, Jeremy is getting his revenge on the 1989 football team that pranked him, pantsed him in 1989 at the time of the meteor shower, which thanks to the meteor shower, that's how Lex became bald. The impact blast blew off Lex's orange hair off of his head, and that's how Lex becomes bald. But anyway, so Jeremy is out for revenge on the team, on the members of the 1989 Smallville High team that pantsed them. But of course, after Clark is saved or gets untied by and uncrowed by Lex, Clark has to save Homecoming and protect Chloe and Pete. Now Pete and again Chloe and Pete are Clark's best friends. Now Pete is very cool. He's on the football team that Clark wants to be in, which I'll get to in a here in a bit, but not in this episode, but in episode 3. In episode 3. But, so after getting uncrowed by Lex, Clark confronts and fights and basically fights Jeremy. And it's an epic first fight for Clark, which he's able to incapacitate Jeremy and tragically for Jeremy, he gets electrocuted. But don't worry, he doesn't die. When he gets electrocuted, inside the truck that he was planning to run over Clark over, he got electrocuted, but out of the electrocution that he got, he basically lost his memory of where he was, of what time, what year it was it, and he forgot about his vengeful purpose, his vengeful goal of getting some payback getting payback on the 1989 Smallville High team. And here's the cool thing for Clark. Lana had told him, if you change your mind and do go to homecoming, I'll save you a dance. But Clark didn't go, but he imagined Lana dancing with him, slow dancing with him in the farm, inside the farm. And Clark said thank you to the air. And Lana heard the thank you from Clark. And that's how this wonderful first episode of Smallville season 1 ends. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Leave a like and let me know in the comments if you want to. Have you seen Smallville? And if you haven't, if you have as well, did you like this first episode of season 1? I mean, did you like the pilot episode? And let me know what you thought about it, and what do you think will happen? What do you think will happen in episode 2 of season 1 of Smallville? So with that being said, guys. Up and away. Bye.